Jimmy Maxwell. I'm currently housed in Dick Connor Correctional Center in Hominy, Oklahoma. I am doing a 12-year sentence for assaulting the police officers and escape. You may have seen it on I Almost Got Away with It. I'm just now finishing those sentences up, and we'll be moving on to a federal case that I have for possession of firearms, and hopefully I'll be getting released fairly soon.
Okay. You've become a published author since you've been in. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a turn of events. I mean, who would have known that I was could write the way that I do? It was from the Lockup show. The producer and the camera crew, I would sit and tell stories to them, and they encouraged me to write a book. I didn't really think that my life was that worthy of a book. It's probably really not, but it turns out that I'm able to tell the story in a way that a lot of people are interested in, and I suppose there's a few interesting facts involved there. But you know, I think that I've often wondered why my life was went from one screw up to another. Now we can put it on paper and we can get something out of it. So I hope that it teaches people. I hope people learn from my mistakes, because that's really the whole gist of the books that I write. You can see my life and see how I've messed it up, and hopefully that it will people will get something from it that they can change and make improvements in their own lives, so they do not have to travel a path that I have traveled.
Okay.
If I had to pick one thing that I learned from my experience and the time that I've done, and if what I would do different, is that the question?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that hurts me, my family, and everybody that I know the most, that I could absolutely say, is drugs. I mean, if you don't get a handle on drugs and get it out of your life, it's just not going, you're not going to be able to overcome life. I don't know about the people that may do drugs that may never go to prison. I don't know very many of those, but for the people that do come to prison, that do drugs and do get in trouble for doing behind that, it will never change. I have been in and out of prison my whole life, and in every time it has something to do with drugs. It's not, it's absolutely the number one thing that a person that I've learned needs to be changed in my life, and is changed. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
Yes, after serving my sentence, do I think that I will be changed, and do I think that I will have a problem staying out? I am definitely a changed man. You can't do as much time as I have and not be changed, but you know, some people are changed for the better and some for the worst. But I have learned that this is just not what I want for my life, and I've known it for a long time, but it is a hard habit to break. And but knowing in my heart that where I came to be, I want to be a better human being now than I ever did, and it gives me the drive and the understanding and the hope that I will have a bright future.
Go.
The first thing that I'm going to do when I get out, I'm going to hug my wife. I have a beautiful wife. She's such a trooper, and I'm so proud of her. You may have read about her in chapter 13 of American Outlaw. And it's quite a story. You know, there's even talk from, we've already been interviewed by a New York producer about doing another TV show just about the prison love story. But you know, as far as what I'm going to do when I get out, I mean, we have lots of plans. We bought a house in Tulsa, and we'll put that up for rent or sell, and we're going to try to move closer to my wife's folks, and you know, out in California. I hope to do some consulting work, and I absolutely intend to continue writing.
Okay.
How did Karen and I meet? You need to buy you a copy of American Outlaw and read chapter 13. And you can find out how did we get back together and find each other after so many years. Chapter 49. So it's something that it helped me. I was in a dark place when before Karen came back into my life, and the uniqueness of our situation and our love story reminded me that there is a higher power. I'd kind of lost sight of that, and I have learned through this experience that there is a higher calling and a higher power, and there is more working in this cosmos. There just has to be. And Karen coming back into my life at this time was proof of that. Well, how difficult was it to write this last book while I've been in here? Let me tell you, it was a 2-year process. It was a lot of work, probably the toughest thing that I ever did. And you know, I didn't even know that I had the talent that I have. I guess we all have God-given gifts, and I found mine, and I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty surprised by it. It was a struggle, though. You know, I would find a computer in a library, you know, at Granite, and I wrote it out on paper while I was in the hole. I scribbled on everything that I could in order to get the story started, and then found every computer that I could to type on, and I'd get it on floppy disks that were illegal, and sometimes I would lose them, and finally I managed to get the story out and was able to work on getting it edited, and it's a back and forth process, and I finally finished the approved copy, and there you have it. You know.
That's right.
Why do some call me an outlaw instead of a common criminal? I think that no matter where you're at and what walk of life, whether you're in prison or you're out, I think the same things that make people good people on the inside, one side of the tracks, make you good on the other side of the tracks. And you know, there's a lot of people that deserve to be in prison and probably never should be out. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it a bit. Somebody that gets out that wants to rape, murder, and pillage and has no remorse or no conscience behind it, I don't want them living next door to my family any more than you would. However, there is a lot of us in here that have fallen victim to, you know, the lifestyle, the drugs, and just getting into, you know, but actually have a good, decent heart. And there is a lot of redeemable qualities. And, you know, if a person can be honest and loyal and trustworthy, you know, they shouldn't spend decades of their lives in prison. I mean, it's a drain on the public. It's a drain on their families, the people that have to wait for them. It's not just a single situation with a single person. I'm not saying that a person shouldn't pay for their crimes, but a long time ago, 5 years used to be a very long time. And then 10 years was really reserved for the really hardened criminal. And now they pass out 15, 20-year sentences like they were candy. There's not much difference between a guy that gets a life sentence for drugs and a guy that killed 4 people and went ahead and pled his conviction down to a life sentence. You know, he said, okay, I'll say that I did it. Don't give me the life without or give me the death penalty. They give him a life sentence. It's not any different from the guy that they just gave a life sentence or a life without even for simple drug possession. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The recidivism rate in Oklahoma, and why is it so high? Well, it's because there is really no education in prison. I mean, we're going to learn things when we come through these doors. And a young man walks through the doors, he's instantly in school. It depends on, and it's the school of hard knocks when he first walks in. He wants to learn how to be the toughest and the most, he wants to learn how to survive and be a predator instead of prey. And, I think that when you come through a situation like this and there's really no other guidance besides trying to survive, when you're released, you become a worse criminal or a worse
A smarter criminal.
no, you become a worse criminal. You become more of a plague on society because you now prey. You're now a predator. You want to prey on. You've learned to prey and learn to survive on in prison. So that's how you carry that to the streets. However, in order to change things, I believe they need to incorporate education. From the day you walk through the door, they should have all the counselors and the case managers and the guards should have a degree of some type, and there should be classes from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave. Your VOTEX, they should be trying to give skills to people that they can carry out of here instead of how to, and I know that there's a lot of people that think that we shouldn't get free schooling. But would you rather have a guy that lives next door to you in 15 years trying to steal your car, or a guy that you can go over and have fix your computer? I mean, it's just the reality of it. It's that's good. My thoughts on mandatory minimum sentences. Well, obviously, I am against them because I'm in prison and I'm suffering from one of them. I think that on paper people can look really bad, and if you don't take the time and take the now let's scratch that one too.
Okay, John.
If I had one thing to say that I wanted to get across to people, I'm not trying to convince anybody that I'm a really great guy and I shouldn't be in prison. I mean, I feel like I've done plenty of time, and I feel like that I'll never commit another crime. I want to be a good human being, and I want to be a good person to the people around me. But it's not for. I don't need to convince anybody of that. That's just what what I need to know to feel good about myself. But what I would say to you out there is that I would encourage you to think about those words, because being a good person has its own rewards, and it shouldn't be because you want other people to think you're a good person. It should be because being a good person is the right thing to be, and I think that's the first step. Thank you.